Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And just a disclaimer before I get this video started, I'm no stock expert, no financial expert. So don't go and buy or sell any of your stock or trade based on my opinion. So this is an article from Yahoo Finance. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys can check it out. It's time to buy AT&T stock hand over fist. So here's what's interesting about AT&T. And they're kind of tough to figure out and to judge, right? So from a consumer perspective, from a tech and wireless enthusiast, AT&T is quite boring. They're behind on mid-band. They're not really pouring a ton of money back into the densification process, although they are densifying some, but not as aggressive as the competition. T-Mobile and Verizon well ahead on the mid-band deployment. And from a consumer perspective, there's not a ton of value in the AT&T plans. There's not a lot of perks, at least comparatively speaking to the competition and what they offer. AT&T just doesn't have that. They have a solid unlimited offering for international travel with certain countries, and that might be an incentive for some to switch, right, from the consumers that are interested in the perks and when the new moves are being announced. But AT&T is quite boring when it comes to that. They haven't announced anything exciting. They haven't been as aggressive on the mid-band deployment as the competition. But yet, right now, looking at it objectively, looking at it differently with the numbers, they have the lowest churn quarter after quarter. I think there was one quarter where T-Mobile had lower churn than AT&T. And in Q1, AT&T had a significantly lower churn. I mean, it was like comparing it to the worst, which was Verizon at 0.89. I think it was like a 17 basis points difference. That's a huge difference. So then you kind of have to look at it. Okay, we can talk about AT&T all day long. We can sit here and say this, and this. They're boring. They're this. They're not exciting on the deployment. And AT&T is going to sit there and say, well, we got the lowest churn. We grew 349,000 customers. What do we care, right? That's what they're going to say. Why am I going to go out and strike deals with third parties that I have to pay some of it for when I'm already growing and I have the lowest churn? So the new and existing customers for them is clearly working. Those deals, I mean, they got customers locked in for 3 years minimum, right? So that's clearly working. The mid-band deployment is coming along just fine. So the good enough story, right? The network being good enough, that's what T-Mobile has been feeding off of for years. When they were doing the uncarrier, the network was really just good enough. They had no low band until about 2015 until they started deploying a block of 700 megahertz. So the network really was just good enough for most. And AT&T is taking that same approach. They don't have the same amount of mid-band deployed. They probably don't have the same amount of densification. You know, there might be some markets where they do, but still in all, the numbers are good enough for them, right? Free cash flow is good. Churn is low. Customers are coming in. Fiber's doing well. FWA is growing too now. So they might not have a care for any of the exciting announcements, for any of the perks. They might not do it at all, and unless they ever see numbers slowing down, decreasing, churn going up, then they might change and do some of those moves. But until then, they probably won't make any of those moves, which might help Verizon and T-Mobile even, gain even more customers. Who knows, right? We'll see how Verizon and T-Mobile plan on deepening relationships with consumers and what they plan to offer. We can see it on the daily as they drop new news, and Verizon continues to fill up the My Plan with the Plus Play. So we'll see what happens. But AT&T is doing well, right? They're doing well. But I just wanted to kind of speak on the two sides, right? The boring for the consumer, no perks. The mid-band deployment is behind the competition. But yet, looking at it from a numbers perspective, being objective, they have the lowest churn. They still grow. and it's all there, right? And to kind of put that in perspective even more, Verizon had the highest churn and they lost customers overall. So whatever AT&T is doing, it's working. And I think that's what they're going to stick with for the future. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. See y'all in the next one. Peace.